To all those above me that watch over me, to all of you, my fave parapeeps on this side of the veil, welcome. This is the Paranormal Ministry. I'm your host, Sean Whittington. I'm a seminarian in the United States Old Catholic Church, and I'm coming to you live from my haunted house, my home, my very haunted home, where I live. Been quiet today, and that's how I like it. Thank you also very much for tuning in, taking an hour out of your busy Monday evening to hang out with me and my guest and my co producer. I don't have a show without you guys. And I know that's why you tune in, is for my guest. And you're going to love my guest today. And he's in the green room. I'll bring him out ASAP. Let me check the prayer urn first. Martin B. from Florida. Hey, Martin. My wife and I recently moved to Florida. Well, there you go. For our health. Okay. We both have been ill as of late. Can you pray for our health and that this move works out for us? That is a wonderful request, Martin, and absolutely, I will offer up a prayer for that. Gosh, a lot of people are moving. So many friends I know in LA moving to Texas, and a lot of friends I know in the Northeast, and even some in the Midwest moving to Florida. We know what that's all about, but we won't get political. Okay. This is a wonderful prayer here. Okay. If anybody wants to add any love and light and positive vibe to this prayer for Martin and his wife, just touch the computer screen as I do the prayer. Close your eyes and bow your head. In the name of the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen. God our Father, source of all health, be near those who suffer in time of weakness and pain. Relieve them of their burden and heal them, if it be your will. Give peaceful sleep to those who need rest for soul and body, and be with them in their hours of silence. Bless those who know not what another day will bring. Make them ready for whatever it may be, whether they must stand or sit or be confined. Grant them a strong spirit. Inspire with your love those who bring healing and care to the suffering. May they bestow your gifts of health and strength wherever they go. Grant this prayer through Christ our Lord. Amen. Don't be a stranger, Martin. I want to hear from you. Let me know how the move went. And if you've retired or if you're looking for work, let me know. I'd be interested in knowing how your health issues with you and your wife improve. I'm going to keep praying for you, okay? Let's check the Paranormal Ministry mailbag. Peter T. from New York. Hi, Peter. I live in a very old and very haunted apartment. I bet. In the city. Building in the city. Okay. There are ghosts in my apartment since the day I moved in. My girlfriend left. Friends won't visit. I don't mean to laugh, Peter, but I saw this coming. What should I do? I can't move. Okay. Well, don't move. You live there now. Um, I can't believe I'm going to say this to you. Try to make a deal. Try to make a deal with the spirits. Let them know that they're there. That make sure they know that they're dead and that they're spirits, and make sure they know that they're bothering you and bothering family, bothering friends, and for them to stop. That they can hang out and it's cool, but to stop bothering you. Because I bet you if it's a very old apartment building in the city, it's probably infested with spirits. Who knows the history of that place? And it's going to be hard, even if you get somebody like me over there to bless and cleanse your apartment. It's going to be tough. I'm going to recommend that too. Get some clergy over there to do a nice cleansing and a blessing on your apartment, but it's going to be tough. To get rid of the spirits. You just got to be honest with them. Let them know. And who knows, maybe bring a psychic over, a gifted one that comes highly recommended, because there's a lot of frauds out there. Have this psychic communicate with the spirit, the ones that are in your apartment, and see if you can find out why they're there. maybe they need a message. Once they get a message out, or um, some help, things may quiet down. But that's a tough one. And I might even run that question by my guest tonight to see if he's got any feedback on that. He's very gifted paranormal investigator, and gifted in a lot of many other ways too. If there's anything you want to know about my wife and I and our ministry work, go to our website, www.ghost-b-gone.biz. And if you go there to visit, there's a lot of cool things to see. Keep in mind that my wife and I don't charge for our ministry work, helping people with their paranormal issues. So, brothers and sisters, trust me. I know things are tough out there, but if you notice the donate button and you're able to do so, please click on the button and send my ministry in a small donation. I promise you it'll be appreciated from the bottom of our hearts. Trust me, we'll put it to good use. I'm also a certified spiritual advisor. If you have issues of a spiritual nature not attached to the paranormal and you'd like to make an appointment to speak with me about that, there's a place on the website where you can do that. But don't leave the website without navigating over to the page called the WSE course/book. On that page, you'll find the ghost store. Lots of cool things to purchase, and everything you purchase in there, proceeds go to a lot of things that I donate to. So that's good. But scroll past all of the stuff in the ghost store, and you'll run into my new haunted autobiography, God, Ghosts, and the Paranormal Ministry. And I quote, scariest book I ever published. That was Annette Munich, owner of Stellium Books, my publisher. But don't let that scare you off of purchasing a copy. If you haven't done your good deed for the day yet, part of the proceeds of every sale of every copy of my book goes to support stjude.org, St. Jude's Children's Research Hospital, Nevada, and the ASPCA. So how cool is that? It's a no-brainer. You get to help some of the neediest children on the planet and the animals too. You can get the book a little less expensive at Amazon, but if you buy it off of the website, it comes from my office. I autograph it and I put it in a beautiful house blessing kit that you can use for house and property blessings for yourself and for your friends. So that's very cool too. And it's a great time to buy the first book if you haven't already bought it, because God, Ghosts, and the Paranormal Ministry 2, Chronicles of an American Exorcist, comes out this fall. And there's stories in there that I finally bring closure to that I left open-ended in the first book, and you can get all caught up before rushing right out and getting the second book when it comes out. Okay, scroll a little further down past the book, you'll see the Worldwide Society of Exorcists, which I am a founding member. I offer a 12-week online college-level course, Introduction to Spiritual Warfare, through the WSC. And this is the course for all you true warriors for Christ that feel a calling and a longing to want to have more knowledge when it comes to drawing your line in the sand, making a stand, circling the wagons, putting up a good fight against, God forbid, true evil if it ever comes calling for you. That's the course that you need to take. It's exactly what it says, Introduction to Spiritual Warfare through my eyes. And it's not going to teach you how to be an exorcist. That's a completely different calling. But it is a wonderful course. No other course like it out there, trust me. You can enroll in the course on the website, but if you'd like more information before making that type of commitment, there is a Worldwide Society of Exorcists Facebook page. Go there, read about the course, or just reach out to me. We can talk about it, see if the course is right for you. Most importantly, please keep all of my former, current, and future students in your prayers. And remember, all my students that graduate get a stunning diploma, certificate of completion, suited for framing, along with some other very special blessed gifts that you can only get from yours truly. Okay, the moment of truth, the reason why you all tuned in. He's a friend. I love him. I respect him. He's funny. He's a cool dude. Very laid back. Very gifted. Um, very spiritual person. He is a religious demonologist. He's a paranormal investigator. He's a seminarian like I am in the USOCC.org. And I know you guys are going to love him. Without further ado, and many of you out there already know him. Without further ado, welcome to the show, Brother Mark Warren of the Order of Saint Benedict.
Hey.
What are you doing? You're very. Now I was going to ask you this in the green room when we were talking before the show started. I forgot to ask. Do you have I have a little a Virgin Mary light behind me that
Yeah.
changes color. Do you have a light that's doing that?
Yes, I do. Yes, so it's actually this lamp right here. I've got it to look like a flickering candle. So that's how it's doing that.
Okay. All righty. What do I want to talk to you about? Thank you for taking it. Brother, I know you got some bad news earlier today about a friend of yours that was in an accident. My co-producer got some really, really bad news about someone close to him. Um, I'm watching this program before I get on the show today, a news program. I should have known better. And they're giving the statistics now of not of suicides period in the nation, not just school kids, not just drug addicts or adults,
Uh-huh.
homeless, vets, you name it. Um, I wasn't going to ask you this question, and I'm going to keep my questions right in front of me. But you are such a laid back dude.
Thank
And every time I see you, you always seem really happy. For all for all the people that reach out to me on a daily basis that are really struggling with, let's address the elephant in the room, depression. Maybe they're clinically diagnosed with it, maybe not. Maybe they don't have depression, but they're that type. See, I wear my emotions on my sleeve, and I have to be careful how much I dive into the deep end without the floaties on when I help people with stuff because I take on all of that burden psychologically and psychically. I take that on. Talk to all of the people out there that are really struggling with how crazy the world is today and might be, God forbid, might be contemplating doing something that is not the answer because they leave behind all the people that know them and love them. They leave those people in a living hell, suffering over a bad decision. Um, do you have anything that you would like to say towards
you.
that?
Sure. I can put it for a personal experience, but I'll get into that in just a little bit. All I'll say is people that are going through hardships in life or depression, whatever, uh, feel comfortable into reaching out to somebody like me or Reverend Sean here. You know, reach out to us if you need somebody to talk to. We're here for you. And all I can say is I'll talk about it now. So, I'm in my second marriage now. Um, I was married before. My ex-wife was very abusive, controlling, all that. She abused me mentally, physically, emotionally, you name it. And I've got two kids I haven't seen in almost going on 5 years now. She will not let me see them. She won't. Yeah, she's keeping them from me. She's moved up and moved out of state about 2, 3 years ago, and found out about it through Facebook. But it's hard. I don't get to see my kids, and I struggle with that. But and another word of advice is stay strong in your faith because with all the hardships, the faith is the first and foremost. You've got family, friends that care about you, but one thing I've learned is faith is what keeps you going every day. That's why Reverend Sean here sees me so happy is because despite of what I'm struggling through, I want to make sure him and everybody else is happy. and that's why I keep everybody else happy, is because making other people happy makes me happy.
You'd be surprised how many people reach out to me for help and they have absolutely no faith, but they don't have no religious belief system in place. And uh, nowadays people don't want to be hit over the head with religion, so I try not to do it. I try to figure out ways where
Okay,
I'm going to give up I'm going to give a secret up here, sneaky ways to kind of plant the seed without them even knowing I'm doing it, but without beating them over the head with it. So
correct.
my technique is just all I can do is testify to what God, the great things God has done for me in my life through some pretty tough situations, and hopefully that resonates. And if it doesn't, um, sometimes I don't even. I am guilty. I'm ashamed to admit it, of cutting some people loose because I get to a point where they're not allowing me to help them, and
Yeah,
it's making things worse. But a lot of people sometimes just walk away from me because they figure, they see the collar, they see
yeah,
the title, they know what I do, and they're already, the demons are working on them.
yeah.
You don't want to talk to this guy because he's just going to cram God down your throat. You don't need God. So it's sad, but
It is, and that is where I agree with that.
well, listen, let me talk to you about some stuff here.
Sure.
I love you and respect you.
Same.
Um, you are, before I get to these questions here, while I have Peters from New York uh, um, question here. You are a member of you are a seminarian like I am in the United States
I
Old
am
Catholic Church. You are also a member of the Order of Saint Benedict, a brother in the Order of Saint Benedict.
the
Uh,
Old Catholic Benedictines of Immaculate Mary. So
Correct. You also um, are a gifted, passionate paranormal investigator.
I am.
So let's dissect Peter's question here. I live in a very old and very haunted apartment building in the city. That's New York. There are ghosts in my apartment since the day I moved in. My girlfriend left. My friends won't visit. What should I do? I can't move. What do you think?
If if you can't afford to move and you're not able to, first and foremost, you want to have somebody that has a good reputation, a team that can go out, find out, what is there. And if it's good, usually what I tell my clients is, if the spirit has good intentions, it's not harming anybody, as long as you set some ground rules with it, then it can stay. If it's bad, has bad intentions, that's where you want to have it gotten rid of. So I would say first and foremost, have a team that has a good reputation come out and do an investigation on it to find out what it is and all that, and then go from there.
Absolutely. Good advice. I was talking to somebody a few months back who born and raised in New York City, and I happened to mention um, I can't I can't believe I can't remember the name of the hotel right now, but it's a famous old hotel that's been in New York forever. It's the hotel that they filmed Rosemary's Baby in, and it's also the hotel that John Lennon was murdered in front of.
Okay.
But there's quite a few stars and famous people of all walks of life that live in this apartment um, building, and it's notoriously rumored to be infested and haunted off the charts. But as I'm asking this guy, do you live close to the hotel? He's a paranormal investigator. Do you ever gone there to investigate? He jumped out right at me and said, "Listen, every building in New York is like that. It's not just that building. So I thought, that's tough because the place is infested, and I'm sure the ghost that's in his apartment tonight might not be the same ghost that's in there tomorrow night. They're
Yeah.
probably all over,
Yeah.
um, and that makes blessing, cleansing, and sealing your apartment
A lot.
hard in an environment like that.
Yeah.
Well, let me ask you this, brother. There's a lot of clergy. I don't judge. God bless them. I have a lot of friends who are clergy that don't believe in ghosts. They believe angels and demons. That's it. Um, Question number one. It's like what came first in our field, the chicken or the egg? But with you, it's what came first, God or ghosts?
God first and foremost, and then over time it became the ghost.
And how did that happen for you? And when you meet other clergy that don't believe in spirits, how does that go?
So, okay, now we're going getting into it. So, before I became old Catholic, I was raised between Southern Baptist and Pentecostal Free Will Baptist. Once I was old enough, I started getting into that. I will say some of them, especially the clergy, they kind of, you could tell that like they didn't want to say anything directly because they knew my cousin as well. So it was like, you know, in other families. So it was kind of like they couldn't really say anything about it. But at the same time, it was like I could tell they didn't like that too well. And that, it at first it bothered me a little bit, but as I over time I've learned, you know what? They don't have to like it. I'm the one that's going in and helping these people when I get these cases when they have nobody else to turn to. So I've come to accept it and, you know, be who I am. And
I do the same thing. My approach is I don't judge and I appreciate everybody's opinion because
exactly
I know that I don't know it all. And I'm the first one to admit after all these years of doing whatever you want to call this thing it is that we do. I the longer I'm in this field, I'll be honest with you, the less I feel I know. It's just it can be very overwhelming how much you when you realize how much you really don't know, how much you haven't yet experienced. Just when you think you've
correct.
seen it all and heard it all, then you see something and hear something that you've never experienced before. So I've been accused of a lot of these disembodied human spirits that I think are disembodied human spirits are actually demons fooling me. And I'm the first one to admit that I am, I'm only human. I am pretty sure. I can't give you numbers, but I'm pretty sure, yes, I have been fooled a time or two. And when I thought I was dealing with a disembodied human spirit, I was actually dealing with something much more malevolent.
Uh-huh.
Um, when you do realize you've been tricked, then you do a roundabout on it and you handle it
Yeah.
the best way you can. Um, when I say that to you, like you and I, if you want to talk a little bit about that case that you and I talked about earlier this week, I found what happened to you. It's never happened to me, and I think it's a, a phenomenal story. Um, what do you think you have been ever tricked in thinking you were dealing with a disembodied human
And
spirit, but in fact it was something a lot worse?
yeah, actually, yes, I have. And that's where, because when I first started my team, I never worked with another team before. Never. I went in straight in and learned from it. And what I've learned now was from the mistakes I made when I first started my team. So that's why now when I go into a normal investigation or whatever, I'm using religious provocation now in a sense, is not to, not to be disrespectful, but it's a way to know, am I dealing with something good or is it something else? Because I know from the mistakes and just jumping into it and communicating without finding out first, you're putting yourself more out there to possibly getting tricked. And that's why I'm very cautious about what I do now. Is I still do it, I'm not afraid, I've learned from my mistakes, and I try to correct that. But and I also tell people, not to, be mean about it, but I'm like, you got to be very careful with this stuff. If you feel like you're meant to do this, learn and stuff like that and investigate and help people and all that, go right ahead. But just be very careful because there's a lot of things out there that's not good that can end up tricking you into something that might be good.
Well said. You used some terminology that jumped right out at me, and that was religious provocation. I can't tell you how many uh, self-proclaimed demonologists and exorcists who I've seen at work go into places that you're already pretty sure going in because of what's been reported that the demonic is probably present,
Yeah.
and they go in there a guns a blazing
Yeah.
and poking the bear and doing everything they can
Yeah.
to try and you know um, really, excuse my French, piss off
No, you're
what's in
fine.
there. And I'm interested in how you are able to do your
Yeah.
technique of
Yeah.
religious provocation um, without going too overboard
Go
with it.
far. So what I usually do is I don't say it. I'll So what I normally do is, just to be safe, I only let my team know, and when I do this, if it's like a normal investigation going to a reported haunted location, I'll let my team know ahead of time and say, hey, just be on the lookout. And if I tell you, can you leave the premises temporarily, please do it. And what I'll do is I'll kind of like pray to Hail Mary in my mind, but because if there is something, it's going to know what you're thinking first and foremost. So that's why, or if it's a regular location helping a client, I let my team know, let them know, keep the client outside. I'll go in by myself, and I'll just kind of think it, and then go from there. But if I'm, certain situations I may not have to, then that's where it's.
Absolutely. I know that when I go, usually I get a client reaches out to me, and I conduct the initial uh, uh, interview, whether it be a text message or an email, and we'll talk a little bit. Then I will extend from there to one-on-one verbal conversation, either over the phone or Zoom or Skype or even Facebook chat. Like sometimes you and I do a video chat on Facebook, something like that, where I see their face and we'll talk. Then I will decide from that conversation if I need to send them an intake form, which they fill out. But I require that everybody in the family, however many people they have living in the home, everybody has to sit down as a family unit, because if the demonic is there, and I'm at this point where I'm sending the intake form, it's trying to break up this family. So I require that the whole family as a unit sits down and fills out this form together as a family. And the form may take 2, 3 hours for them to fill out. Send the form back to me. My wife and I read it. Then we make a determination if I'm just going to advise them what they should do,
Yeah.
because honestly, they're the ones that truly have the power to turn their lives
Correct.
back and make things better. They just have to have faith and
That's
and
right.
strength. But if we decide that we're going to go there, I get all of the animals and the children out of the house.
That is
You know, if
correct.
you need to board your animals somewhere for a day or two, you need to find babysitters that'll take your kids for
Yep.
24 hours. Because I know just me showing up is provocation enough.
Yep. That's right.
And these things go after the
Yeah.
children and the animals.
Yeah.
And it can get really ugly really
It,
quick.
it,
But I
you know,
just go in and I see what I see. I feel what I feel. I
yeah.
don't do anything extra. Like you know, if you are truly here and you are truly a yada yada yada, you know, touch me or take my energy or throw something. I don't go too much into that direction because um, uh, I I also do not like trying to engage in one-on-one communication with the demonic, especially if I'm assisting in or taking authority over an exorcism. I don't want to because I can't trust anything that the demonic is going to feed me
Yeah.
as far as information or
Yeah.
answers or anything like that. So I try to avoid that. But
And actually, I'll say I agree with that because I'm the same way. There's a story I'll talk about, but I'm not going to say whether it was a case. I ain't going to go. There may things I may not speak about, but there will be things I will talk about it and everything.
well, if
So
you can talk about that case that you and I talked about, just in terms of, and I'll just throw it out there. One of the big things for me, if I'm at a location where I really believe the demonic is present, if the client believes in God and allows me to do it, I will do a renewal of baptismal promises there on
no,
the location, and um, and see how that goes.
yeah,
Um, I will also take confession. I that go usually goes a long way. I have communicated with many spirits, disembodied human spirits, and the demonic, but I have never had a spirit want to confess to me their sins because obviously they felt that maybe that was what was holding them here. And
yeah.
if I remember correctly in this conversation we had, you experienced that. Before you answer,
Much, that's pretty much what it felt like. Was I don't think it may have been completely sins itself, but they were confessing to me that something happened there on the property and in the house, and they felt like they were responsible for it, and that was and that's a bit. And honestly, it was the most emotional thing I ever went through.
let me add something real quick before you
Sure,
continue on. Do you feel you're psychically gifted?
I do. I
Well,
felt
I'm here to tell you that you are. Many of us that are in this field are, and that's why we are in this field.
yeah.
And I talk to clergy all the time that I can just feel it on them. I can smell it on them that they are gifted. And some of them shy away from wanting to be outwardly open about that because of the stigma of
Yeah,
psychics and all that. But you definitely are, and I'm hoping your gift has served you well, and it
yeah,
really helps you in what you do, not only as a brother and a seminarian, but um, it'll help you one day when you're finally a priest, and it also helps you in your paranormal investigations. So, talk about that gift and
definitely.
how you um, how you handle having that gift, and then if you want to elaborate a little bit more on how these spirits came to you with their issue
Yeah,
and what the resolution was with that,
yeah,
I'd love to know.
yeah, sure. So I'll start how I first found out. For years, um, I noticed since I was little and everything, and so I'll start from the beginning. So I was, some people may not have heard of it, but I was diagnosed when I was little with a mild form of autism called Asperger syndrome. As I got older, I noticed I was picking up feelings, emotions off of other people and everything. So it would be like if somebody was mad about something, they didn't have to show it. I could just pick it up off of them that they were mad about something. If somebody was sad about something, I could pick it up off of them and I'd be like, they, like I said, they didn't have to show it. I could just pick it up off of them and I'm like, are you all right? Is everything okay? And when I got into the paranormal, it went from there, and I started noticing that, it was like, easy way to explain it, I can explain it, is I could go into a case if there was, spirits that were there that were sad, I could just feel the sadness. It was like I was feeling what they were feeling. And it you know, if there was something that was bad, that I could pick that up and everything. And so the first time I found out a lot of what was going on was when, God bless his soul, but my grandfather, me and him, he passed away at the age of 92. He was a farmer most of his life, and he owned his own granary business. I worked with him on and off growing up. Started out sweeping the floors in the warehouse and all that, and then worked my way up to going out in the field, pulling weeds during the summer in the field and all that. When he broke his hip and all that, he went downhill, and right before he passed away, he knew I dealt with the paranormal. And I said, Grandpa, after you pass away, I'm going to try to contact you. I didn't, even though I wanted to, I didn't, because I was still during that grieving stage. And one thing I tell people is, don't communicate with any type of spirit if you're going through a grieving stage or whatever, because you may not intentionally try to, but you're putting yourself out there for the possibility of something not good taking advantage of you. And so that's why I didn't. About close to a year passed, and I was like I said about my kids, I could go to my grandfather and talk to him about it. I was like, I was crying. I was like, I wish Grandpa was here right now, because I wish I could talk to him. And I remembered it to this day. This is when it started. Out of everybody, the whole entire family, I was the only one he came to. He came to
Yeah.
me. And it was so amazing, because the suit he was buried in was the suit he was wearing that he came. And
Yeah.
he told me, he's like, Mark, he's like, it's okay. I'm happy now. And what was even more amazing about it, he, close to the end, he used a walker and a cane. When he came to me, he looked a couple years younger, and he was walking without a cane and all that. And
Uh,
that's how it got started. Ever since after that, my grandmother, his first wife, that passed away years ago when I was little, she came to me. He's come to me. My cousin's mom, that passed away when he was a baby in a car accident, I never got to meet her. She's come to me. And yeah, it's mainly been family and my dad's dad. My grandfather on my dad's side, he's come to me. And it's like they've all come to me to give some sort of information to give to the rest of the family. and everything. And I remember after my grandfather passed away, my cousin and my mom, there was a somewhat an issue with, and my uncle, there was some issue with inheritance and some land. There was, some arguing going on. And I remember it. My grandfather, my grandmother, and my cousin's mom, all three came to me and said, Mark, you need to tell your mom and your cousin they need to stop that arguing. They're like, because, I always said, I was like, shoot, if I could, I'd just get rid of the whole property altogether and then it's end it that way. But, I was like, and I get that because I was frustrated because it was over something that was stupid, arguing over something that was stupid. But, I look at it now, I talk to them separate about it. And my mom especially has been always a big skeptic. And, I told her and my cousin both called them over the phone separately. And I told them, I said, just to let you know, what grandma, her mom, told me to tell her and tell my cousin, grandpa, same thing, and my cousin. That was a time that I found out, knew a little bit more what my gift was. And I remember this is actually really neat. So my cousin gets married a year before we did back in 2018 in October. It's cold outside. It's cloudy somewhat. And all of a sudden, I look to the sky, and out of the whole sky being cloudy, this bright light opens up over in the clouds. This one area opens up, and it's sun coming through. Next thing I know, standing not far from where I was standing, I could feel the presence of my grandfather, my grandmother, and my cousin's mother standing. Even though I couldn't see them, I could feel their presence not far from where I was standing. And it was there for a few minutes and got to watch my cousin get married. And my grandfather said, and I remember it, he said, Mark, when it's time, I want you to tell your cousin I'm proud of him and that we were there watching him and everything. And let him know too, his mom's there. His mom was there watching him too.
Yeah.
I didn't say nothing for a while. I waited till after, because that was a situation I felt they had just gotten married. I wait till they get back from their honeymoon to tell him. I called my cousin up after they got back, and I told him, and it was an honor. He really appreciated
absolutely.
that. My cousin asked me, he's like, Mark, what's it like having that gift? I said, honestly, I think it's a blessing at times, but it's also a curse.
Yeah.
Because I said, I can't help when it comes to me, and whatever they want to tell me, I can't control that. So it's like, I just have to deal with it. And, but it's hard. It's hard, but I feel like, it's especially when it's, family and non-family, it's a blessing to be able to have something like that, to be able to help people. And that's really really it about that, how I
Well,
found.
when you're not doing all of that, when you're not doing the um,
Investigations and
yeah, I know that you also have. Do you still work at NC State?
yes, I do. Yes, I do.
I looked for it today. It's somewhere in my house. I have this journal, and this
Uh-huh.
journal has a collection of some of the most notoriously haunted um, universities and college campuses around the country. And
Yep.
NC State is on that list.
It
And
is.
even since I haven't looked in that book in a long time,
Yeah.
I just know of a famous dorm haunting there, where
Yes.
back in the day, and we're talking, I don't know how many floors up, pretty high up, top
Yeah.
floor. The girl who was in that dorm was also dabbling in the occult, and I rumor has it she leapt to her death. Then
Yeah.
her spirit started haunting that place.
Yeah.
But then many students over many years that were allowed to stay in that dorm room
Yeah.
reported not only seeing her spirit, but that there was something a lot more menacing and malevolent
Yeah.
in there. And it got so active, violently active, paranormally wise, that they ended up closing off that room. And a lot of people that don't know the story that show up there to stay on in the dorms don't even know that the way they've blocked it off, don't even know that dorm room's there anymore.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
you must run into a lot working there.
Oh, yeah.
How many spirits do you run
I'll
into working there?
tell you about this. I've had my personal experience myself working at Clark Dining Hall. So I've been working at Clark since 2018. Uh, Never had no experiences. I think it was back in 2021 after NC State first opened back up from, that thing we had to lock down temporarily. They let I went back to work. So my responsibility was during that time was to clean the tables and clean the bathrooms. Before we didn't have to I only had to clean the tables. So what happened was I had to clean the men's and the women's bathrooms, the employees and the students. And first and foremost, I remember that day I went to go cleaned the men's restroom, was going into the women's. I opened up the door, cracked it up, and I said, "Housekeeping, I'm coming in. Anybody in there?" Nobody answered, so I said it again. Checking, make sure everything was good. Went in there, propped the door open, put the trash can in front of the door so somebody tried to go in. They knew somebody was in there cleaning. I was cleaned the sinks and everything. Went into the stall, the handicap stall, started cleaning up in there. Next thing I know, I start hearing like somebody's walking in there. There have been a couple of times where even though I said I identified I was in there, a student walked in anyways, and I had to walk out. I heard like somebody was walking into the women's bathroom. I said, "Housekeeping." Nobody answered. I was like, maybe I'm just hearing things. I hear it again. I'm like, "Housekeeping." Same thing. Nobody answered. And it kept sounding like somebody was walking in there. And sure not, I said, "You know what? I'm getting tired of this." So I was like, maybe whoever it is couldn't hear me with my mask up. So I hear it again. I pull my mask down. I said, "Housekeeping, I'm in here cleaning." And that's where it stopped, didn't, So I hear it again. I'm like, I go outside. I talk with the dish room supervisor, which is also the supervisor for the dining room as well. I said, "Hey, we'll call her uh Abby." I said, "Abby, is did anybody go into women's bathroom a while ago while I was cleaning?" She said, "No, I've been out here the whole time taking care of beverages. Nobody's been in that bathroom." I said, "Okay, thank you." I didn't tell her why. I just said kept sounding like somebody was walking in there. That's all. I left it. I didn't know at the time about the situation with which is the dorm's Clark Hall that's connected to the dining hall. So I didn't know about that story yet. So what happens, fast forward, I go in there, finish up cleaning, I hear it again. So you know how some restrooms they have the soap dispensers with the thing that sticks onto the mirror?
Yeah.
That's how it is in the bathrooms. So I hear this sound again. I open up the door and I say, housekeeping. Best thing I know, clear as day, I see it. The soap dispenser looks like somebody took it off the thing, like jerked it off and just dropped it onto the sink
Wow.
itself. And I looked, I said, mind you, I'm in there by myself. And it just like, it startled me because I was like, what the heck just happened? So I stuck it back. I went out there, I tried to debunk it. I was like, maybe it was where I cleaned the mirror down and I put it back up there and tried, take it off myself. It wouldn't come off. So it wasn't the mirror. And that's when I first found out there was something else there. So fast forward, I went, same thing happened in the men's restroom the very next day. I said, something's going on here. So I remember, originally when State was built, Clark Dining Hall and what would be now Clark Hall, connected to it, was one of the original buildings. And it's one of the older ones, so especially when it comes to some of the sewage, we tend to have issues and everything every once in a while. So I knew that. So I was like, something's going on. And then two other people, a student employee and a regular employee, both come to me and tell me that they had experiences, and I ain't said nothing to them about it. And I'm like, something's going on. So I do some research. And that's when I found out. And the one you may be talking about may be Clark Hall.
It sounds so familiar. I bet you that's it.
Yeah, because originally when Clark Hall was built, it was dorms at first. Then before they had another infirmary built on campus for that side of the campus, they turned the dorms into an infirmary. And later on, after they built the new infirmary, they turned that back into Clark Hall, which is dorms and offices. And downstairs, which would be, you would have to leave the main part and go around to the front, and that is Clark Dining Hall. So they turned the bottom part out front to a dining hall, and they took the rest and made it offices and dorms.
Wow. Let's talk
So,
about Saint Benedict.
yes.
I was honored. First of all, I'm still honored that Bishop Long invited me into the seminary of the USOCC.
Yeah.
But I was equally as honored when he invited me to enter the Order of Saint Benedict.
Yes.
And I I joke with you guys all the time about being the original MIBs and cool robes, and I know that they're called habits, but I like to tease Bishop Long about that. So I've done my fair share of research of Saint Benedict. I've had his prayer book for years.
No.
But I've done some further research on him, and I know Bishop Long doesn't watch my show, so I'm gonna let you in on a little secret. I'm there. I've already made the decision a while ago that I want to be a member, but this is what I'm going to do. I know he's planning on having that retreat for us in the fall of this year, and there's no guarantee I'll be deserving of being ordained into the diaconate at that time. But if I go because I'm going to become a deacon, I thought I would surprise him and already have my habit and tell him that I'm ready to take my permanent vows for that when I'm there, because I want to do that in person with him. I don't want to do it over Skype or Zoom or Facebook Live or anything. I want to see him in person and have that done in person. But I didn't know if you would have it on tonight or not. I love him. I got to, before I kick you out of here, and we've got just a couple of minutes left before I have to say goodbye. I have to ask you this question about the Saint Benedict, the Benedictine habit, which I think they're very cool. Most of my friends really close to me that have known me all my life, that I mentioned that I'm going to accept and go into that order. They go, "You a monk?" I go, I'm not going to be in some monastery at the top of a steeple ringing the bell every hour. It's not like that. Um, but I love the habits. They look like no other habits. You've got the then Franciscan monk habits and
Yeah.
many other orders. I love their habit, but being of Scottish ancestry, which I am, and having my own family tartan kilt, which I wear on every St. Patrick's Day and any other chance I get uh, to wear it, I wear it. Um, do are the Saint Benedict habits worn like traditional style, like a kilt? Are you commando under there?
So, no. So actually, so we wear regular clothes. What I do is I wear. You can see it's like the black clerical shirt, but I don't wear the collar because I'm not a deacon or a priest yet. And I wear the Benedictine necklace that you're given when you take your permanent vows. And yes, I'll take it off. There we go. The ring too.
Very cool.
So yeah, I'm wearing the ring, and I wear this underneath, and then I'll put the habit on top with the belt and all that. So yeah.
Well, brother, listen.
I've been doing this show for quite a while, and I've just got to say, Sean, are you commando under there? That is the best question I've ever heard you ask.
Well, I don't know. I see these robes. I tease you guys about the robes, and they're awesome. Um, and I've been shopping around looking at. I mean, Deacon Tommy had gave me a location to go look at, and then I started looking at other locations for him. Just an awesome look, but I didn't know. I can't. I can see shoes. Like some of you guys have sandals on, and some of you are wearing shoes, but you can't
Yeah.
really see underneath there. So I didn't know if
You
like
you for sure.
like in
Yeah.
Scotland, if I go out with some real hardcore Scottish dudes and I'm wearing my kilt, if by some strange chance one of them is just being a smartass and lifts it up and sees that I'm not commando, I get my ass kicked. You gotta be too legit to quit. So I didn't know if you guys were commando under there or not. I just thought I'd ask.
Clothes underneath.
All right, brother. Listen, before we get cut off here, I gotta let you go. Thank you so much.
You
Give your wife a big hug and a kiss for me.
I
Give all
definitely
the kids a big hug and a kiss for me. I love you. I respect you. Reach out to me anytime you need to. I know we're all busy. We all have lives, and sometimes I don't get back to you right away, but you know where to find me. I don't go nowhere. If my work calls me and I go. If I don't, I'm here, dude, doing seminary studies,
uh-huh.
working on the show, helping people that reach out to me with issues of a variety of things. So, anyway, have a wonderful, wonderful remainder of your Monday evening. You are truly a blessed individual. You're on my prayer list. I pray for you all the time. And I will be talking to you probably. Oh, I'll see you later tonight at night prayer.
Yeah. Hey, are you gonna be busy after this before?
Actually, I am. This is my wife's office at home. And when I get done here, she's got
Uh,
to come right in and start
oh,
doing some work. And then she takes off for about 15 minutes to let me do night prayer. And then
yeah.
she's back in here the rest of the night working.
All right. Sounds good.
You want me to call you?
Yeah. Give me a
Okay.
call.
I'll give you a call, brother. I love you, brother.
Love you too, brother.
I'll see you later.
See you later.
Bye bye. Okay. Friday. This is Monday, right? Yeah, Friday. Oh, you're going to love this guy. First time on the show. I'm looking forward to it. This Friday, February 10th. He's a world renowned, critically acclaimed author. He's got like 12 books out. They're all awesome. Um, he's an authority on Christian ufology. He's a retired serviceman. Seems like a really cool dude. John W. Mylor will be here this Friday, the 10th. I want to thank Zach and Adrian Clayton, my co producers. I couldn't do the show without them. CommunityPayItForward.us. Go there. Find somebody to help. Help them if you can help them. USOCC.org if you're interested in knowing anything about my church. Not my church, but the church I belong to. If you're interested in night prayer, which is Monday through Friday at 7 p.m. Pacific, go to bishopjameslong.com. Scroll down to the bottom of the homepage. The link to night prayer is there. And if you're interested in Bible study, which is every Wednesday and Sunday afternoon at 5 p.m. Pacific, the link for that is there also. Thank you to Things Network. Thank you to Temple of Phoenix Rising Entertainment. Thank you to Skeleton Key Network. Thank you to PACT, little p, capital ACT, Podcasting for All Coming Together channel, and BeInspiredRadio.net. My show is re-aired there all day on Saturdays on BeInspiredRadio.net. Okay, God bless you all for doing that. And it is bad joke time. I'm going to pull a bad joke that one of you sent in out of this Haunted Carnival Barker hat. It's my attempt to make everybody smile before I say goodnight. This is a pretty good one. Did you hear the one about the claustrophobic astronaut? Poor guy, really needed some space. Good night, Danny. Good night, Jack. Good night, Dog. Good night, Harold. Rest in peace. Good night, Ernie. Good night, Bill. Good night, Dan. God bless you all. I love you all. Peace.